Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 27th of July. So looking at the euro dollar first, and yesterday's bar pretty much summarizes the what the market thought of the FOMC statement. Now, within the statement, it suggested that they would start unwinding some of the I think it's 4.7 trillion or 4.5 trillion balance sheet at some point soon. Now, as I said to the guys yesterday, and I was on the video, that appeared likely. There was a lot of people expecting that comment. Well, it was in there, so it's priced in, and there were no surprises there. So, in fact, after a very short dip, the euro rallied, as did most of the other pairings, dollar pairings. So where from here? Well, I just need to come out to the weeklies, and within a smidgen that's a very small amount for those that don't know what smidgen is. Within a smidgen of catching that 200 moving average there on the weeklies. Now, whether we've got the strength for that, we'll see, but certainly a good possibility the way it's been moving. I talked about it in the weekly update, and sure enough, it's been moving in that direction. Now, for now though, we're sitting on the daily. We're already, dailies. Yep, we're already into that monthly point of the near enough into the R3 for the month. So it really has been pushed up there. Now, from a 4-hourly perspective, and some of the shorter time frames, there are some sort of signs of weakness on the euro as opposed to some of the other pairings that I'll show you. At the moment, we've got this shooting star coming through, which, well, may or may not shape up for more. And it's really when you come down to this hourly picture, and this is where this differs, the euro differs a little bit more to some of the other markets in terms of, it's got the divergence on the hourlies here. Well, that's the differential actually, is that it has the divergence. Many of the other markets have a stronger RSI on the more recent shove, so which may just see the euro coming back towards its daily pivot there. Reasonable probability of it happening, but maybe if all the other markets rally, it will take the euro with it as the dollar sells. So certainly a potential today. It's not a great deal of points away from that sort of level, around about 30 pips, I think, or less. So there's certainly that possibility, just a retracement back to the 60-20s, if nothing else, which will tie up pretty well. Okay, the pound pushed up, it broke its prior highs as well. There's nothing really to show on the weeklies. It's nowhere near anything significant yet. It has continued, as I said, it had a decent shove up yesterday, and it's pretty sound as it did so. It's very slow, but compared to like the euro, but it just plodded on and on. And what we ended up here is we've got this same double peak situation. However, we've got a bit of an extreme with the cable, which to me, well, the higher RSI on that second one, we could push back up. It's not diverging at this point. Still have the daily pivot below, so any sell-off and break below that 60-minute 8 may give us the sort of signal here back to the 20s, maybe again, but maybe even further towards that pivot. To the upside, well, the daily R1's not that far away, and that we'll see how it runs out this morning. Sometimes when you get these extremes, it'll go back up and test them. On a few, it just rolls over, but we'll see. Dollar yen, inverted picture, of course. I say of course, but pretty inverted picture. It's sold off. It has actually pitched down a bit lower through the Asian session to the prior low. No divergence on this daily yet, unless it was to break down and double bottom or just break through. There's no divergence on the dailies, but there is the question of whether it will reverse back up. I mean, it had been showing the signs of maybe, well, certainly a trend change. It had broken the previous trend line on this 4-hourly, but as it happened, it sort of almost well, it did diverge to a degree in that spike which we had with the news before it rolled over. Now, looking at 60-minute here, and there's no divergence, just like the pound. This move here, it's run lower, hasn't extreme low, so maybe we'll see it pull back in. It's certainly a slightly weaker looking move. this second sort of push there. So maybe that will run back to the pivot there on the 21s as well. So Aussie dollar took again a good move. We're sort of running in, and you sort of start running to look at the weeklies and immediately, because this is where we'd sort of I was looking at these 200s on the weeklies across the board, and yep, it's run through the 200 here. And well, solid bullish engulfing yesterday. It's broken out of the, I mean, it was holding up well anyway and looked bullish, but it did eventually, it snaps back, caught that weekly pivot, and it's pushed up again. So little really to say here. Part is a sort of same old picture really. Daily pivots are below. It was quite a long way. It may well get missed. If it does break the 60-minute 8, maybe we'll see it run down to the 21s. But I think it may be a big ask the way the Aussie dollar's been running in general. And finally, the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar, as I said time and time again recently, my preference is to be on the sell side of the Canadian dollar, and sure enough, it sold yesterday. It was stalling for most of the day there. Had a little pop, and it certainly dropped. It just started moving up a little bit earlier. Ran back into the highs as we saw a dip of the around about the oil data. Actually, it wasn't actually the oil data that moved it so much. Anyway, it barely gave it a kick at the time, but it was just shortly afterwards. Anyway, sold off here. Strong move down. Double bottom this morning, and there is a bit of a divergence, so that may just bring it back into range, back towards the pivot 21s there. Thereafter, maybe a short opportunity depending on how it shapes up. If it runs up quite quickly, it may pull back quickly as well. So we'll see how that runs this morning. Slow move back to that. I'd just be leaving it alone. Right, that's pretty much it for today. Aside of the news events that are likely to come or due out today, we've got the Spanish unemployment data at 8 o'clock, which generally gives us absolutely no movement with the euro at all. And the European money supply at 9 o'clock, another non-mover. So at 1:30, core durable goods, US and unemployment claims. Well, the core durable goods can give us a bit of volatility, not massive. So these days, it gives very random figures, but as I say, not very much in the way of movement generally. So there we go. Quite old day ahead to consider the news from yesterday. Have a great day. Bye for now.